Hey guys, this is James from TeaDB bringing you another Inbetweenisode. So today I have the 2002 Yiwu Huangpian. It's sold on W2T. It recently was put up there. It sells for about $49 for 200 grams. So it's about moderately priced, relatively cheap for its aged. It's a brick, yeah, so a couple people have asked me about it, and I recently had a sample. So here we are. I'm brewing the last little bit of my sample. So you guys probably saw in the intro that this is a Huangpian production. It has those big, broad, ugly leaves. Those leaves are often picked out of productions. Part of it is looks. People tend to value prettier, tippy sort of leaves. Anyways, W2T sells a couple different productions that are Huangpian, so it's been a minor focus in the Western scene. You can look at it at other vendors as well. So this is probably one of the more aged productions that's widely available on the West. So let's give it a go. And we are going to take a smell. So it sort of has this light fruit floral aroma to it. There's a bit of mustiness, but it's not the same sort of like mustiness that you get from like traditionally stored tea. So it's not necessarily as fermentation-y. It's more sort of like of a dry basement sort of smell to it. And I actually have steep 2 and 3 poured out already. So cheers, guys. It's got a decent soft body, very smooth. You guys can see the liqueur of this. The cup I'm drinking right now actually had a little bit lighter liqueur than those. Sweet. It sort of tastes very similar to how it smells. Extremely smooth, very soft as well. As far as being able to tell if this is Yiwu or not, I don't have a clue. I think it's really challenging, so I'm not sure if even Two Dog would say this is necessarily Yiwu. So I found in my previous sessions with this tea that this does especially well when you push it a little bit harder. It's hard to get a lot of bitterness or astringency out of this tea. It actually reminded me quite a bit of some of the white teas. The mustiness of it and sort of like the I don't know, sort of like that interesting floral characteristic is, I think, a bit different. So similar but different, I would say, to white teas. A little bit also of that sort of like false artificial sweetness in some of those heichas, like the Kongbrex, sort of like a stevia type sweetness. So yeah, so you can see I brewed that for a while. This is just steep number 4. I'm using quite a bit of leaf for this. I'm using about 5.6, 5.7 grams for 75 milliliters. So that's pretty hard parameters, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing those parameters for other teas, especially other Pu'erhs, but this tea, you can really push it. I think you'll find that that's the case for a lot of Huangpians. This one has the additional component of being aged as well, which definitely helps its drinkability. So I think it's a nice tea to have if you sort of want that smooth, rounded characteristics without having a much darker taste or a much like heavier, oily taste like you could get from traditionally stored teas. So this one is stronger, and this is probably a totally unhelpful comparison to just about everyone, but when I had this tea and I smelled the leaves, it reminded me exactly of these old bootleg DVDs I brought of like a 1960s samurai series about 10 years ago from eBay. So I actually brought this out, and we're gonna give this a smell too. It's a little bit different, but it sort of still has that dry, musty smell. So I've been Seattle aging these DVDs for about 10 years too, and there's some similarities there, I gotta say. I don't think it was totally off. I remember when I got these DVDs and I smelled it, I'm like, that's kind of a weird smell, and I was a little bit worried if it would work or not, but Lo and behold, it plays fine. I still have those DVDs about 10 years later. And yeah, so I guess I'm not sure if these DVDs originated from Asia or something like that, but it makes me think that there's some similarities in sort of like how these were stored in sort of like a basement that isn't terribly humid, but definitely gives off some sense to it. I'd be curious to try some other aged Huangpian to see how they compare to this. This one's really mellow. I find that I prefer pushing it pretty hard and getting maybe 7 or 8 steeps out rather than going a little bit lighter and getting more brews. So hitting this pretty dang hard, but you can see the color is even lightening there. The water's still quite hot, so sort of an orangish color. And I like it more when it gets to a red. I could imagine boiling this tea sort of like you could old white teas, and it sort of would develop, it has sort of like a nice medicinal sort of form to it. So enjoying that aspects to it. I don't think this is something that I would personally pick up. I think I generally prefer sort of that heavy oiliness of the just traditional stored Hong Kong stored teas. But this is a nice sort of alternative if you like those sort of like kind of medicinal, floral, fruity, aged characteristics to it. I think it's worth a sample for anyone to see if it's your sort of style of tea. So, sweet on the outset, really a little fruitiness, a little more fruitiness on this one, a little bit more body as well. No bite to the tea at all, no bitterness, no astringency, very, very smooth, very easy to drink. It could be a nice evening brew if you're looking for a brew with less caffeine. This is aged as well as Huangpian. Huangpian is known to sort of have a little bit less caffeine than other teas. So nice in that aspect as well. And this is steep number 5. And I'll probably just do 1 or 2 more after the camera turns off here. And just continuing on, it's just extremely easy to drink. Let me know what you guys think of this tea, if you guys have tried it yet. I gotta say that it's nice to see some aged teas come up now and then. This one's, I would say, pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best or anything like that, but worth checking out for sure if you're doing a white tea sample order. It's very affordable, and yeah, it is quite unique. I will also add that, and thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.